Welcome to Lead with Clarity. This is a space for leaders who want to grow without losing themselves in the process. Each episode is a short reflection on leadership, influence, and the inner work that shapes how we show up for others. It's not hype, not noise, just clear thinking for the journey of leading well. Today's episode is entitled Help Enough People, Zig Ziglar's Framework for Sustainable Leadership Influence. Here we go. There's a version of leadership that most people chase. It's the version where you accumulate titles, wins, credit, visibility. And for a while, that version works. You get promoted, you get recognized, you get results. But somewhere in the climb, a lot of leaders discover something uncomfortable. The accumulation stops compounding. The influence plateaus. The room gets quieter, not louder. And they can't figure out why. Today, we're going to look at why that happens, and more importantly, what the leaders who never hit that ceiling actually do differently. Zig Ziglar said it plainly. You can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. Let's hear that again. Listen slowly. You can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. Most people hear that once, they nod, and they move on without ever actually sitting with what it demands of them as a leader. Here's what Ziglar was pointing at. He was not describing philanthropy. He was not telling you to be soft or self-sacrificing or to give away what you've earned. He was describing a specific mechanism, a structural truth about how influence actually works. When you make it your discipline to help others get what they want, you become indispensable. Not because you positioned yourself that way, because you functioned that way. People don't forget the leaders who opened doors for them. They don't forget who gave them credit, who advocated when no one was watching, who made a call on their behalf. That's not sentiment. That is compounding trust. And compounding trust is the most durable form of leverage a leader can hold. The misread, and this is where I see experienced leaders get stuck, is assuming this is a long game charity play, that it requires patience, sacrifice, and delayed gratification in exchange for some eventual return. So they mentally file it under nice to do and keep operating transactionally. That's the wrong frame entirely. Contribution first leadership is not delayed. It's immediate. Every time you help someone in your orbit get what they need, you earn access. Not someday, right now. Access to their trust, their network, their candor, their effort. And over time, those micro deposits become the foundation that no competitor can replicate and no economic cycle can erode. Think about the leaders in your own career who shaped you most. I would bet they were not the ones who were the most decorated or the most visible. They were the ones who invested in you before you had anything to offer them in return. That's not a coincidence. That is the model. The question is not whether this works. It does. The question is whether you're willing to make it your operating principle rather than your occasional gesture. So here's what I want you to sit with this week. Not a framework, not a template, just one honest question. In the last 30 days, who got something they needed because of you? Not because of a transaction, not because there was a clear win in it for you, but because you simply saw an opportunity to help and you took it. If the answer comes easily, that's a signal you're building something real. If you're searching for an example, that's equally valuable data. It tells you where your next leadership move should start. Ziglar's principle holds whether you're leading a team of 3 or an organization of 30,000. The mechanism doesn't change with scale. What changes is your opportunity to apply it more broadly and more intentionally. The leaders who endure, the ones who are spoken about long after they've moved on, are never remembered for what they accumulated. They're remembered for what they made possible in others. Contribution is not a strategy you layer on top of your leadership. It's the foundation that makes everything else sustainable. The clearer you are on that, the cleaner your decisions become.